Whew, I'm gonna have to take a drink on that one. It's getting heated.
Back it up, I put on the show, I be acting up. If he ain't got no bread, I'm packing up. I need a rich nigga with a bankroll just so I can add it up. Say ho, my nigga got him an a-hole. He gon' listen and do what I say so. He know I'm only after the.
Hi, I'm Tassie and welcome back to my channel. If you're a returning subscriber, welcome home, and if you're a new subscriber, make yourself at home by clicking that subscribe button. So by the time that you're watching this video, Valentine's Day done came and went, but I believe we're still in the month of love. And one thing that people always get misconstrued is that when we talk about love, they always think it means romantically. Like, no, we can talk about platonic love and most importantly, self-love. Because if you don't love yourself, you can't expect anybody else to love you. And that's just the harsh reality of it. So in celebration of the month of love, I decided to make a video about, a few little tips and words of wisdom that I've gained over the years of me dating and being in relationships. Now, I'm still young. I'm about to be 25 in a month or so. So, I still got time. But I'm going to be real. I feel like I am seasoned enough to give my opinion and to give my advice. I am fully aware I got some seasoning to go until, I meet my husband. But until then, babes, yeah. Hopefully not too much seasoning though. Hopefully not, because I'm honestly, between me and you, I'm over it. I am. I'm very much over it. So hopefully it's just like a little pinch of salt left, because I'm like a few seconds away from just spazzing completely. But either way, I'm here to give you guys some tips, advice. Consider this almost like a chit-chat video, because that's all we're gonna be doing. Now, I will say I will be touching on some very heavy topics, some things that might be triggering to some people. So just be advised of that. And not only that, because we will be getting into the nitty-gritty, get yourself something to drink. That is, if you are of legal age. Well, no, get yourself something to drink even if you aren't, because you should have Pepsi or something in your house, something like that. It don't have to be alcoholic, honestly, truly, it doesn't have to be. But for me, yes, I'm going to have a drink because, boy, do I have some stories. Do I have some things to reminisce on. So if that sounds like something that you're interested in, please stay tuned. And with that being said, let's get straight into the video. So let's just rip the band-aid off and just get controversial real quick. If you have a Twitter or a Facebook, you know that you see this stuff all the time. A man is supposed to do this, a woman is supposed to do this. Should we go 50-50 on bills? Who pays for the date? I don't want to pay for a $20 date if I'm not getting some. I don't want nobody using me for my money and this, that, and the third. Just, it annoys me. It annoys me. And it annoys me especially because the people that are the loudest about this topic, you can tell they don't get none on a regular basis. Who about to sit up here and argue about stuff like that? This is really stupid. But I say all that because one of the things that I have learned during the time that I have been dating is that gender roles, or specific gender roles, are not made for everybody. It's just not. And I don't know why people obsess over it to the point where they think it's a debatable topic, but it's no, everybody's relationship is different. You have to understand that there are some women that are willing to pay all of the bills. There are some women that are willing to go 50-50. And if it works for their relationship, cool. But if there is a woman that feels like her man is supposed to pay all the bills, why are you sitting up here trying to argue with her? You clearly ain't the man that she wants. You're clearly not the man that she needs in her life and that she's expecting. Just leave it. And it's the same thing for women. There's gonna be some men where they want to be catered to. They want to be pampered. They want to do this, that, and the third. And you know what? They're allowed to feel that way if they want to. Again, there's certain women that are willing to do that. So if you see a man that's like that, just leave. It's quite literally that simple. Just leave. Just leave it alone. But I will say though, is that I've noticed that the people that are very adamant about these particular gender roles and women are supposed to do this and men are supposed to do this, they are always the people that can never deliver on their side. They want someone to cater to them and boost their ego and provide for them. And I'm not a therapist. Listen to me. I'm not a therapist, but it is very clear that a lot of these people are looking for their absentee parents. It is abundantly clear that is exactly what's going on. You don't want a girlfriend, you want your mother. You don't want a boyfriend, you want the father that you never had. That's the true tea. Nobody wants to say it, nobody wants to admit it, but the evidence is there, clear, in your face, and y'all just don't want to listen. And I can say from personal experience, I have never had a problem with a man paying for me. I've never had a problem with any man like taking me on a date, or even if it's just platonically. Like, I've never had issues with men paying for stuff. I can say that the issues that I've had is that I have been told by men themselves that they feel some type of way that I'm willing to do a lot of things by myself and I'm willing to spend my own money, because it low-key makes them feel like they're not doing their job correctly. It makes them feel like they're less of a man and all this other stuff. And again, I personally don't feel that way. I feel like it's stupid. But yeah, it's just prime example. Like, gender roles just ain't for everybody. I don't mind paying for my own shit. I don't mind if my man pays either, but it's like, I'm not about to wait on you to do it. Like, I'm not about to expect you to do it. If you want to, be a man and you know, do it then. Like, why you gotta get permission from me? Why I gotta act like I'm stupid and oblivious in order for you to be a man? Like, that to me is questionable. Now, I will say this though, a lot of the reason why I behave that way is because of my own trauma. I don't like the idea of somebody being able to control my finances or what I can and can't do. So there are times where, like, you know, I do need to learn to just, you know, step back a little bit, let them do what they need to do, let them feel good about themselves and stuff. But again, I feel like you should just feel like a man regardless. And at the end of the day, if you were really like that, if you were really like this masculine man, you would just do it. So I don't understand the hype behind it. Like, the way I see it is this: yes, you want your man to be a man. Yes, you don't want him to feel like he's less than. But realistically speaking, if there's a situation where I have a savings account or I have enough money in my bank account for whatever reason, and we live together, you're the main breadwinner, but there comes a point in time where, like, let's say you get laid off or you get fired or God forbid anything happen, you can no longer pay the bills. Should I be able to risk us getting evicted and getting our lights cut off and our water cut off and not being able to buy the baby Pampers because you want to feel like you're a man, even though I have the money in my bank account to where we can fix this today? Like, to me, that's the logic that I have. That's why I just go out my way and I tell people, like, you know, gender roles ain't gonna be for everybody, because if I'm in a sticky situation like that, I'm not getting evicted. I'm not getting my stuff cut off. Like, if I did it by myself, cool. But just in general, absolutely not. Absolutely not. I'm not doing it. I'm not gonna do it just because you wanna feel like a macho man. Like, I don't even care for stuff like that. So why would I? But yeah, that's just my little tip. Every relationship is not meant to have gender specific roles. And at the end of the day, this is something that you definitely need to talk to your partner about, instead of just assuming that they're just going to go with the flow, because everybody is not always going to be on the same page. Speaking of which, the main problem that a lot of these relationships have is that communication is like low-key non-existent today. I mean, from the looks of it, it wasn't really all that present in previous, you know, generations of marriages and stuff, but still, today I feel like it's just way worse. It's a whole lot of people that just do not talk. I don't even know how to explain exactly what my thought process is, but I'm gonna try, so just bear with me, okay? So here's my thing. I have no problem if someone feels like they have to vent to me about their relationship woes. I have no problems with, you know, people just wanting someone to just sit there and listen to their problems. But one thing that I will say that I have noticed a lot, that a lot of people do, a lot of people are way more comfortable telling strangers the issues that they have with their partner, but will never tell their partner the issues that they have. And I'm gonna just tell you right now, that is like the worst thing you can do, because number one, how is your partner supposed to know this information? How are they supposed to know, like, oh, well, he has an issue with this, so let me change this? They don't know, because you never said anything. And then not only that, I highly do not advise for you to be that type of person where as soon as y'all fall out or as soon as y'all have an issue, you run to this person and tell them this. No, like I will never advise that. I don't care if it's your best friend. I don't care if it's your parents, your mama. I don't care. I don't care. And the reason being is because, again, everybody's relationship is different. everybody's relationship with everybody is going to be completely different. So the relationship you have with your mama is completely different than the relationship that your mama has with her own mama. The relationship that you have with your grandma is going to be different than the relationship that your mama has with her grandma, because that's her mom. She doesn't see her as grandma. She sees her as mom. She had a completely different set of experiences with said person that shaped them to have the relationship that they have today. And it's the same thing with friendships and romantic relationships. At the end of the day, you are going to be on a different wavelength than the rest of these people. So at the end of the day, yeah, like these people can give you their advice, but they're only giving you advice based off of the evidence that you gave them. These people do not go to sleep to this person. These people do not wake up to this person. These people have not been with this person through the ups and the downs. They don't know this person like you know this person. So of course, from the outside looking in, if you keep coming to them saying like, oh, they're always negative and they're always being so mean to me and they're always being an asshole and they're acting like this and acting like that, of course the first thing that somebody is going to tell you is that you need to leave that person alone. Of course. And let's be real, like we as human beings, there is a certain bias that we have. So there will be times where you're venting about a situation, but whether it's intentional or not, you're not pinpointing where you did something wrong and where you messed up. And the thing is that the part that you played probably changes the whole context of the situation. So at the end of the day, you cannot sit here and just blab your business to complete strangers and then expect for your relationship to work out. That's stupid. I'm sorry. Like, I ain't trying to be mean, but it's just stupid to do that. And listen, this is a concept that I had to learn myself because I had a real bad habit of doing this, and I still low-key have a bad habit of doing it. You have to understand that everyone, again, has a different life experience. So the problem is that what's common sense to you is not going to be common sense to everybody else. So you're gonna probably meet somebody who has no emotional intelligence whatsoever, and you do have to sit there and explain to them like, hey, I want you to feel comfortable talking to me. I want to talk about how like you're not really that big of a empathetic person. I feel like you're distant. I feel like you don't communicate well. There's gonna be times where you have to have those talks with your person. You have to. I don't think it's fair to just jump the gun and assume that this person doesn't like you and assume that this person is a narcissist and a terrible person. Like, no, certain people did not come from households where they talk about their emotions, so they don't know that this is a safe space and it's okay. There's some people that don't understand, like, okay, I do have to sometimes put somebody else before me. Because I can be real, like that's low-key a problem that I have. Like, I will put other people before myself. And because I'm not taking care of myself, I'll sit there and kind of like inflict that animosity on that other person, and it has nothing to do with them. It's my own personal shit. So similar to what I just said in the last point, like that whole running to Twitter and trying to have debates, have you talked to your partner about this? Why are you telling me, sir, I'm not fucking you? Like I don't understand why I'm in it. Honestly, truly. If your girl is cool with it, cool. Your boyfriend cool with it, cool. Y'all cool? Cool. But I came on here to laugh. Why is there a debate, a whole Twitter thread that keeps being retweeted on my timeline? I don't want to see it. Dead it. Today. Okay, so this one I gotta take a drink on because, listen, this point right here, let me tell you something. One of the hardest lessons that I feel like I had to learn during my dating phase, it is okay to let go of people even if they hurt you unintentionally. It is 100% okay. You are not a villain. You are not a bad person for being like, you know what, this isn't what I expected. This isn't what I want anymore. I'ma just leave. I had a hard time understanding that. I have literally overstayed my welcome in people's lives. I briefly touched on that in like one of my life updates. I don't even know which one it was or how long ago that was, but that was something that I talked about in the past. I have a really bad habit of giving my loyalty too much. It's okay to be loyal to your people, but you do have to understand, like, there comes a point in time where you're just getting taken advantage of and you gotta leave. Like, when it's time to leave, it's time to leave. You gotta let it go. I dated somebody who was unintentionally hurting me. But the problem with him is that I verbally told him, like, you know, I really don't like it when you do this. I really don't like it when you do that. And he continued to do it. He basically would tell me he was working on it, but there was really no work that was being done. He just expected me to just stay there and wait until he fixed himself up. And I feel like that's the problem. Like, everybody wants to be that down chick. Everybody wants to be a ride or die. Nothing wrong with that. But again, if you a ride or die and they come to a stop and they let you go, don't be mad. Don't be mad. Because the reality, ooh, y'all gonna try to fight me. Y'all gonna be mad at me. But I'm gonna be real. You are going to help this person on their journey and build them up to the point where they are going to realize that you're not even within their standards anymore. And that's the truth. A lot of people were attracted to people because of their healing aura, like their healing spirit. They were moved by something that you had within you. So just imagine you're sitting up here doing what you need to do, being their little stepping stone. And now they're at a level to where they're just like, I want more. I want better. I thank you for your time. I'm going to let you go. And then you're going to be in a corner somewhere heartbroken. Now, I'm not saying it's right. I'm not saying like, oh, go out there and use people. No, it's not. But that's just the reality of it. Because I can be real and say like the type that I had when I was like, what, 10? Not who I want now. The men that I fell in love with, I done fell in love like twice in my life. The men that I fell in love with, those are not people that I want as a husband anymore. Like after going through my trials and my tribulations and heartbreaks and, you know, having little talking buddies and stuff like that, I know what I want now. Like at this age that I'm at right now, I know exactly what I want my husband to possess. I know exactly how I want my husband to be. And I can be real and say that the girl back then was not ready for the husband that I am expecting today. So I can't even lie. I can't even lie. If me and some of my exes would have stayed together, eventually I would have left them anyways. We still wouldn't have worked out. Still. And even some of my exes, they're not the same from when I left them. And sometimes it's a bittersweet moment because it's just like, dang, why couldn't you be that when I was with you? Why couldn't you be that person when I wanted to build a life with you? But again, some people are not meant to go with you for the rest of your life. Sometimes you're going to reach a point in your life where it just doesn't do it for you anymore. You gotta let these people go. It doesn't have to be beef though. Y'all don't have to like absolutely positively hate each other, but it's just not worth it. It's just, honest to God, it's not worth it anymore. And you just gotta let them go. Again, they can unintentionally hurt you because they got some things they need to work on and build up on, but you are not obligated to stay. You are not obligated to stay, because 9 times out of 10, if it was the other way around, they're not staying. I guarantee you that. They're not staying. They don't care. And at the end of the day, you're not a bad person. You're nobody's lapdog. You're nobody's support animal. You don't have to. You do not have to do anything that you don't want to do. And part of me is still like a little bit of hopeless romantic. So, you know, maybe there's a point in the future where y'all gonna come back together as better people. And boom, you done got married and had kids and y'all done lived and died together. That's fine. That's fine. But in the meantime, if you're unhappy, go. Leave. Nothing wrong with that. And I don't care what nobody say. And while we're on the topic of healing, let's also talk about how sometimes you are going to unintentionally repeat the patterns of your parents. I am the type of person where I definitely learned my lesson when dealing with my parents, and I knew that the relationship that they had, how they communicate, how they co-parent, that's not something that I would want for my kids, and that's not an ideal relationship that I would see for myself. But I will say there have been times where I have emulated the exact same things that my mother has done. I have emulated the exact same things that my father has done. And like I had said before, you know, there's certain people where they seek their parent in other people, in the person that they're dating. I can tell you right now, both of the men that I fell in love with, very similar to my father. A lot of some of the things that they do, the mannerisms and traits that they possess, very, 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 very similar to my own father, my own dad. And it wasn't like it was intentional. Because I never thought that I would be that person. Like, I didn't fully realize that I do have mommy issues and I do have daddy issues, but I never peeped it because I I know people that have had a worse life than me. So I don't think too deep into it. You get what I'm saying? But again, there are a lot of people where you are probably going to intentionally do a toxic trait that your parent has done, either to you or to the relationships that you've seen them in. That doesn't automatically make you a bad person, and it doesn't automatically make you a villain, but you need to work on yourself. Like, the moment that you peep, you need to work on yourself. You sit back and realize you keep getting dumped, yeah, that's your wake-up call, babe. It's time for you to change that. It's time for you to grow and develop as a person. You cannot, please don't be one of those people where you blame your trauma on the whole entire world. It's okay to acknowledge it and acknowledge the fact that it definitely has a part to play in like your well-being and how you interact with people and just your relationships in general. But that whole concept of the world owes me and needs to pay me back for what my parents did, bitch, we don't know you. We don't know you well enough to be doing that. So I don't think so. I'm sorry. That's just, I didn't sign up for that. So just be aware of it, because even currently you're probably not aware of it. Somebody is probably going to bring it to your attention and be like, hey, you know that thing that you be complaining about that your mama do? Yeah, you do that. You do that to everybody else. You do that to me. But again, you are not a bad person. Just, write in a journal, meditate, pray, do what you got to do and fix that. That's it. So let's get into another controversial topic real quick. Let's stop lying to ourselves. Looks matter to a degree. They do. They do. Now, I will say I am definitely somebody where looks aren't the only thing to me, but I can't see myself dating someone that I am not sexually attracted to. I cannot see myself dating someone that doesn't, really make me look at them and be like, wow, that is a beautiful man. I just can't do that for myself. Let's not lie and make it seem like it's not important. It is important to a degree, like it is. But I feel like to obsess over looks, that's the problem. See, people don't understand that there's a spectrum to almost everything that we do as humans. Nothing is set in stone. Nothing is just, A, B, C, D, 1, 2, 3. So if you're the type of person where it's like, oh, my man has to be dark skinned, he has to be light skinned, that's when you're kind of getting weird. That's when you're kind of losing me, because do you want a toy or do you want a man? Because I ain't that picky with the appearance that much, but all I can say is I definitely want a man that's attractive. But this whole build a bitch concept that people keep doing, yeah, it's a no for me. It's not that deep. Oh my God. And let's talk about how y'all gonna be mad. There are certain people out here that fit y'all preference, your quote unquote preference to a T. They ugly. They ugly. So now what? You still gonna date them? I know some of y'all will, cause I done seen y'all date a few munchkins just because they was light skinned. But you know what? Move on. I'm kind of all over the place. I think this drink is kicking in. I ain't gonna lie to you. But going back to what I said about how everybody's relationship is different, it's another thing that people don't really want to realize and fully understand. But heteronormativity and monogamous relationships are not for everybody. And I feel like it's okay if it's not your cup of tea and it's not your preference, but don't pass judgment and make others feel bad for the choices that they've made and the lifestyle that they want to live. I'm thinking of a topic right now, but I don't know if I am allowed to say it on YouTube. So all I'm gonna say is this. Men have a G-spot. Do you know where it is? If you don't know, pause the video, go on Google. There's your answer. Come back. Are you back? Okay. So the reason why I bring that up is because there is a particular activity that some straight men do that has been, again, why is it debatable? I don't know, but it has been a debatable topic all over social media. And basically there's a lot of men, other straight men, that feel like a man is automatically gay if he enjoys this particular activity, but the activity is being done with them and another woman. So it's like, they're still straight. So like, what's the problem? But there's a lot of people that feel like, no, you're definitely curious, you're definitely in the closet if you like stuff like that. Again, why do we care about what other people got going on in their lives? I don't know. I really don't. But I can say that, like, from what I have seen, there is a whole lot of people that are trapped in the box of heteronormativity and just being like socially acceptable with their sexualities and how they express it with their partners. Like, to me, it genuinely seems like a lot of people nowadays are in relationships for the approval of social media and their personal friends, and I don't understand that. Now, that's not saying that you got to partake in the male activity that I'm talking about, but I'm just saying, like, there's a lot of people that are so like opinionated and judgmental on what other people are doing and how other people are in relationships, and it's just not okay. At the end of the day, I can be real and I can say that me personally, I don't think that's my cup of tea. I don't know if I could be involved with a man that was like that, but it's not based in homophobia like the rest of y'all, because y'all just weird for that. But it's just not something that I would personally be okay with. And it's simply because, like, for me, I can say that I'm a very submissive woman for the right man. I haven't been as of recently, and I'm not gonna lie about that. But yeah, I am naturally a very submissive woman when I care about a man and I really like genuinely have a connection with a man. So to see a man in that much of a submissive position, I don't really see myself being in a relationship like that. That's not saying that I never want my man to be submissive and I never want him to, like, you know, be comfortable around me, but just by my own personal preference, that's what an actual preference is. If you needed context, I can't see myself really like participating in that type of activity. And honestly, I don't even know how y'all be, you know, because I ain't gonna lie, I seen some videos. I did, and not mad at it. But again, I ain't that skilled to be, you know, yeah, that's not my cup of tea. It's just not my cup of tea. And it's the same thing with, like, you know, like the people that want to be thruples. Well, let me not lie. There was a point in time where I was kind of cool and content with being in a thruple. But like overall, I definitely want my man to be my man. That was literally a one-time thing because I don't know. It was like I was attracted to both of them and I kind of had a connection with both of them. And there's even been times where, like, I've kind of been attracted to two men at once. But even then, it's like, I just don't see, like, I don't know. I just don't think that it will work out for me as far as, like, a serious relationship. And I can be real and say that sometimes I don't have the social battery to even deal with more than one person at a time. So I don't even know how I would be with two husbands or two boyfriends or a boyfriend and a girlfriend. Like, I don't even know how that would work. Shout out to the thruples out there, because that's a lot. That is, honest to God, a lot. And I don't know if I could deal with that. But overall, my point is, you have to understand that there's going to be some people that are not, that's not what they want. They want the you know, they want that. And some people, they don't want to be monogamous. They want to have an open relationship, open marriage. They want to be like, you know, a 3, 4, 5, some, like, and to each its own. And at the end of the day, again, if it's not your cup of tea, you can leave. You ain't obligated to do nothing that you don't want to do. Polygamy is not for everybody, and every, you know, adult activity is not for every single adult. And I just feel like we at an age now to where it's like, again, why are these debates? Why are these things that people want to give their opinions on and pass judgment? It makes no sense. Like, whatever you do that. But do it quietly, because we don't care. So now we're getting into territory that is going to be a little bit deeper. I don't want to say darker. It's not dark. Well, in some cases, yes, it is. But I'm going to be getting into territory that might be triggering to some. So quick little trigger warning. I am basically going to be talking about abuse, emotional, mental, physical, sexual. Like, I will be talking about all of that. So at this point, if you don't want to watch this video, that's fine. Thank you for watching though, and don't forget to like, comment, and subscribe. But yeah, like, I wouldn't blame you. But anyways, to the people that are still here, hi. Yeah, take a nice little shot when we're talking about this, because this is about to be some ish. So I can say, again, on a personal preference, for me, being a trophy or like a trophy wife or whatever, not my cup of tea. But I can also say that I have witnessed other people and like their relationships and failed relationships where being the trophy is very toxic and not healthy at all, like at all. And what I mean by the trophy is like essentially going back to like the preferences and the looks mattering and everything. There is nothing more dehumanizing than somebody obsessing over your physique. It's okay to appreciate and love on somebody for their features or like their unique features and stuff, but to just make that like their center identity and the only reason why you affiliate with them and the only reason why you find them attractive, very weird, very odd. And that's one of the reasons why like a lot of people, they don't do interracial relationships, because some of y'all obsess over your partner being a different race compared to you a little bit too much. And it's definitely, it's weird. And the fact that a lot of y'all don't notice how weird it is, it's like 10 times more weird that y'all be doing stuff like that. Cause like, why don't you get it? And as a Black woman, that is like the biggest fear when it comes to us dating outside of our race. I don't want you dating me because I'm a Nubian queen and I remind you of coffee and you want to put your creamer in my coffee and make a coffee blended child. Like, I don't want that. I don't want you obsessing over the fact that, yeah, Black women have these big gigantic booties. Like, I love them. Like, please don't do that to me. Like, I don't feel comfortable. But I'm not even just talking about like interracial relationships. Like, even in, you know, like the monoracial relationships too. Like, I don't want you to pull me out of the closet to show me off to your friends and then put me back on a shelf. I don't want you to see me as an object to the point where I can't relate to you emotionally, but you can have sex with me whenever you feel like it. Oh, we can bang and we can go on all these little trips. We can do this, we can do that, and blase, but it's like, I don't even know what your favorite color is. You don't know mine, nor do you care. You don't care about my likes and dislikes. You don't know that I'm allergic to pineapple juice. You don't know that I'm sometimes allergic to avocados. Like, you know nothing about me, and you really don't care to know anything about me, simply because you never liked me for me. You never liked me as a person. You liked me because I was visually acceptable. You liked me because I was appealing to your homeboys and to your mama and to your uncle, and I don't want to be a trophy. And there have been a few times where I've like been in situations like that where it's like, I don't feel loved. I don't feel like I'm appreciated. I don't feel like anybody is really like loving on me because they genuinely love me. I feel like I am literally here for the aesthetic and the aesthetic only, and that is like the worst feeling in the world. But again, maybe there are some people that are into that, but me personally, it ain't nothing good about being somebody's trophy. Like, I never want to be objectified like that ever again. Okay, so this one is especially triggering for me because I was in a relationship like this, and I didn't realize how bad it was, or that this was, you know, being done to me. And it's just, I don't even know how to describe it. It kind of goes hand in hand with the objectification. But so many people really don't talk about how there are people in this world that use as a manipulation tool. It's like, you don't want to talk, you just want to have. I'm upset about something and you think a penis is going to make me feel better. You think that you can control me and take things away because, oh, you got that good, and it's just really hard. Like, I think the reason why it's so hard to talk about for a lot of people is because it's like, again, we live in a society where like there's a lot of heteronormativity and like things that are socially acceptable. I'm very glad that I was born into a generation where is not a taboo anymore, but now that a lot of people feel comfortable talking about and their sexuality, there's a lot of people that have now instilled like little rules here and there. So imagine if I was to come out and say like, he had sex with me too much, or he expected too much. These people would be looking at me like I was crazy. They would be sitting there like, girl, I would kill for a man like that. Girl, what is you talking about? And blah, blah. But it's like, you don't really know what I'm talking about until you have physically been in that situation. To have somebody feel like they can control you because y'all just have a lot, it's not fun, you know? And in some cases, again, trigger warning, but like in some cases, it's sexual abuse. It is. Like to some degree, it is definitely sexual abuse, because you should never use sexuality as a way to control somebody. And I can say this, like, that's why after a while I kind of was like out of my phase of having like casual partners, because one thing that I cannot stand is I am a very like vulnerable person during my little time. So I really don't like the concept of like you know that I'm at my most vulnerable, and that's when you want to like try to instill things onto me, convince me to do stuff, and you know, like I really don't like being taken advantage of like that. And it has been a few times where men have taken advantage of me because of like, you know, me being very different while I'm in the moment. And again, people don't usually go into detail and talk about these things because it is seen as taboo that you're like having a lot of and you have a problem with it. But trust me, you know when something ain't right. You know when it's just like, okay, we doing too much, ain't we? Because there's no reason as to why like you think that we made up and the argument is over with because we did it. Like, sir, you have not acknowledged my feelings. You have not acknowledged my presence. No, it's not good enough. It's not good enough. Okay? Like, it's just not. Never let somebody manipulate you with your sexuality, because that is like, I don't even know. It's kind of tied in with the objectification. I don't know. Sometimes they go hand in hand. But yeah, it's not a nice feeling. And I feel like we got to get out the habit of keeping hush hush about it, because it's not okay. It's just not okay. So the last thing that I want to touch bases on is another thing that I feel like a lot of people do not talk about well enough. It is actually way easier than you think to get into an abusive relationship. And a lot of us would like to believe that it could never be us, and we would never allow this and we would never allow that. But again, you really don't know until you're actually in that situation. I was in a very toxic situation. I think it's like going on 5 years now, I think. And I can be real and say like I'm very thankful that it never got to a point to where it was physical, but the emotional and mental abuse was enough, and it wasn't fun. I let this man talk to me crazy and treat me any type of which way. I did a lot of things that were completely out of my character. There were even times where I lied on behalf of this man, knowing good and well that it wasn't the truth. I protected this man a lot. Like I really sat there and, you know, I just wasn't myself for a while. And anybody that knows me personally, like, you would be shocked. Like you would genuinely be shocked at that relationship. Like, if I described it in grave detail, you would literally be like, that don't even sound like Tasi. That don't even sound like a man that Tasi would allow in her life. And again, like beforehand, oh, I would have agreed with you like 100%. I would have been sitting there like, girl, that could never be me. I ain't even gonna hold you. I was definitely one of them people where I'm just like, man, he talked to me like that, I'm gonna punch him in his face and da-da-da, like, you know. But it really is easier than you think to end up in that situation unknowingly. And I feel like we as a society, we need to be very patient with people that are victims of domestic violence and you know, just domestic abuse in general, because it is definitely a situation where it can happen to anybody, and you truly do not know what you would do or how you would escape it until you are actually in that environment and in that relationship, because it's not what it looks like on TV. And I feel like that's the problem with a lot of people. They think that it's like, oh, everything was perfect, and then one day he just hit me. Like, babe, it's layers to it. I'm not saying that it never happens like that, but in a lot of cases, these men are not abusive out of the blue. They have been abusive basically since day one. It's just that they did it in a way where you wouldn't think that it was them trying to manipulate you. Oh, and another thing too, like one thing that I've noticed too, y'all do realize that the abuse tactics can overlap with each other. Like, they don't just pick one. They don't just have a favorite and go with it. Like, no, low-key, all of the abuses play into each other. Like, low-key. So again, like in my situation, very thankful that it never got to a point to where it was physical, but I knew even when I was with him, eventually it was going to get physical. Like I knew that for a fact. I wholeheartedly was aware that one of these days this man is going to feel comfortable enough to hit me. And I was low-key waiting on it. And I told myself, like, the day that he hits me is the day that I'm going to leave, and I'm going to know that this man is not for me. But it was a red flag within itself that I was waiting for it, and I was expecting it to happen. So yeah, like, people just don't get it. Like, you genuinely want to believe that you would escape and you're a little bit, you know, level-headed and stronger than that. But even the strongest people, the most roughest, toughest, meanest people can be in an abusive relationship. Even men, because we don't talk about that enough, to be honest. But there's so many men that are in abusive relationships, and it's seen as normal because as a man, you should be able to defend yourself. You should be able to, like, you know, do what you got to do. Like, don't let no bitch run you. But that's just not true. It's just not true. It really isn't. So the only advice that I can really give is just be as aware and as cautious as possible. When it's time to leave, leave. Don't feel bad about it. They will try to manipulate you to come back. They will definitely do whatever they can to try to appease you so that you can stay. And I don't recommend it. But I will say this though. I will say this. I'm not going to go into detail and talk about my situation just yet. I will in the future though, because it's about that time that I talk about it, but just not right now. Like, I don't want to talk about it right now. But I will say that I definitely sympathize with people that, you know, go back to their abusers multiple times, because it's genuinely not that easy to leave someone alone, because again, it's layers to the relationship. It's a literal relationship. There are times where these abusers are like your savior, the only friend that you have, the only person that will listen to you, the person that clothed you and fed you, like they were there for you. So it's not that easy to just be like, oh, he hit me and I'm just gonna leave. Like, it's not that easy. And I can say from a personal perspective, for me, there were moments where I wanted to go back and I wanted my relationship back, but I got a good enough wake-up call to, you know, shake me into reality and be like, no, absolutely fucking not. We're not going back to that man. We're not dealing with this man ever again. And it still kind of hurts to this day, because I feel like that was part of the reason why I didn't grieve as much as I should have and healed completely. Like, I probably would have healed sooner had I had just, like, you know, tired myself out. But I also see it as a blessing, because again, it definitely was getting to that point to where this man was going to start putting his hands on me. So I'm glad that I got out when I did. And I send my prayers out to the families of people whose, you know, children and loved ones did not get out when it was time. We have definitely lost a lot of people due to domestic violence, and it's genuinely not a laughing matter. Again, all I can really say as far as advice is just be aware and definitely talk to people. That's why I said earlier, like, it's okay to vent about your relationships and stuff, but just have discretion enough to where you know, like, when you're telling too much and when you're genuinely telling somebody because they need to know, like, hey, if I go missing, it was him. Like, just be very cautious and very, like, aware of your surroundings. I hate to end this on a somber note, because that was definitely very, very deep of a conversation. But yeah, that is all the advice that I can really give you guys today. Again, I still got some ways to go. Still young, thriving. I'm gonna chug this last bit. So guys, that is it for my video. I hope you guys enjoyed it, and I definitely hope that this was informational enough for y'all to, like, possibly navigate your dating life and come to terms with some things, because it's hard out here. I ain't gonna lie to you, it's hard. So if you did find this video very helpful and insightful, please do not forget to like this video. Comment down below any tips that you have, if you can relate to some of the situations that I've talked about. If you have any questions, again, I'm not a therapist, I'm not a life coach, I ain't nobody for real, but I feel like, again, we got to start having conversations more about certain things like this. So if there's anything that you want to get off your chest, or little questions that you want to, like, expand on certain topics, please do not hesitate to comment them down below. Do not forget to subscribe and click that notification bell so that you can be notified every single time that I post. And of course, share if you can. So with that being said, thank you guys so much for watching, and I will see you next time. Your love is all I need. I'ma tell you all the things